at a time.
Yeah.
We're going to take it a little bit at a time. I'm going to give you one thing to start with, and then we'll add something else. But we do a lot. Like by the end of it, it's so fun to watch somebody come in and go, I'm not going to be able to do all this. And then a couple months later, the next person comes in and they're like, nah, girl, you got this. Because they have adjusted to it too. And so we really just try to love them through the first few days, because that is probably one of the hardest. Is they're coming in, they're like, who are all these women? They're coming in with a different mentality most of the time. Wherever they've come from, they've had their guards up. They've had to, be defensive or whatever, and just letting that soften to where they stop and go, actually, I'm home.
Sorry. Say I go in. I'm like, hey, I'm in the place. I need.
You are
need
hideous. Sorry.
I'm sorry. I don't think we can help you.
Welcome to the Cameron Joe Show. My name's Joe with my good friend Cameron.
Good morning, buddy. How are you, man?
I'm doing fantastic, dude.
Only way to be.
A little bit of a holiday hiatus. You feel fat and turkey-like?
Oh, it was wonderful.
Bro.
It was nice taking our, I think, 2 weeks off just to revel in the mashed potatoes and the family and the madness.
Bro, I'm all about mashed potatoes and madness.
How do you have Thanksgiving and somehow skip to leftovers? Like, I almost just want to make the meal just to put it in Tupperware containers to get it out like on Black Friday. Everything just, gets a little better.
Yeah. Oh, I did. I don't know if they're called tchotchkes, but they're the pancakes that you make using the mashed potatoes to make potato pancakes with the oil.
Wonderful.
Oh, yeah, bro. No, I bougie. So, other than our food habits, today
we have a guest.
We have an amazing guest here. This is Sarah Jel. She's been running an organization called Lydia's House, so she helps to operate it, and it's incredible. I'm not gonna tell more. I'm gonna let her do it.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
Good morning.
Appreciate it. Lydia's House is a 10 to 12 month discipleship and recovery home for women here in the Yuba City area. We're actually a ministry of the Bride Church.
That's awesome.
So they continue just to help support outside of that. But we don't charge our women when they come in. It is all run through donations and fundraising. And we just really want to help women just learn who God says they are. Most of the women are pulling themselves up out of addiction. And we just come alongside them and help them and teach them and then walk through all the things while they're going through it.
That's incredible. What did you say the ages were again?
We actually don't, 18, just have to be adults, but we don't have a cap. We don't have an end age on it. We just, in the interview process, we just really assess, are we the right place for you?
Sure. And then do you guys actually run a house where the women stay through that process?
Yeah, we're a residential program, so
Awesome.
It's all the things. A lot of the times women come in, sometimes they come in from being homeless, sometimes they come in from jail, and they have very little, and so we rely on donations to provide all the things that they need, from toiletries to clothes to curriculum.
That's incredible.
Because every area has their own difficulties, right? I know if you go to Sacramento, it's going to have different difficulties, Chico, whatnot. What are the biggest difficulties you guys have had here?
I think the biggest thing, especially is just drugs and fentanyl. Yeah. One of the things that's really difficult for us in this area is detox. We're not a detox facility. We don't have medical staff on site. It's not something we can do, but really, most of the time when women are in this situation, they don't have the money or the insurance to go to a detox facility for 30 days.
Got it.
Sometimes there'll be a family member or somebody that can help with that, but probably detox is probably the hardest thing. And fentanyl is just so demonstrative that it's just awful.
Demonstrative is the appropriate word.
It's definitely invaded in a big way. So let's go through process. So I say I'm coming in there. Josephine, sorry. Say I go in. I'm like, hey, I'm in the place. I need.
You are hideous. Sorry.
I'm sorry. I don't think we can help you.
No.
You're gonna scare all of the people in here. It's just not okay. So say I'm coming in and I put in an application. What would that look like?
So that would be the first step. You would either get an application through us or through the Bride Church. You would complete it, turn it back in. Once we receive it, we then set up an interview. We review the application, but set up an interview. One of the things that I have really felt like the Lord has said to us is, you just got to sit down with people. You can't judge them on paper.
Yeah, it's very true.
And it's a scary thing for people to do, depending on what they've walked through, depending on what they're facing. It can be a really scary thing to have to be like, here, I'm going to hand you a piece of paper that says how bad I am.
Yeah.
And I'm expecting you to say, sure, let me help you.
Yeah.
Self-evaluation.
Yeah.
The opposite of what we want to do by nature. We want to make ourselves look as good as we can.
Absolutely.
Right? That's tough.
And so the next step, once we get the application, is we sit down and we do an interview. We hear your story. We tell you a little bit about the program. Try to go in depth that, hey, listen, we're not we're not a work program. We are a discipleship and recovery program. We're going to spend time in classes and in the Word and doing 12 steps and all the things. And then from there, once we've completed the interview, we have a prayer team that then spends the next 3 to 4 days in prayer about, are we a good fit? Are they a good fit for the house? And then from there, then we set up an intake date, which would mean you have to go do some medical stuff. But then after that, then you come and you move into the house and we introduce you to the rest of the sisters at Lydia's house. And
how many beds do you guys have, and what's the total capacity?
Sure. We have 6. We can house 6 women. It's actually a small 2-bedroom apartment with 1 bathroom. Okay. We actually do really well. I know that sounds scary.
That's great.
But so we can house up to 6 women. Currently, we do have a full house. We have 6 women living in the apartment. And then we have a graduate also who is interning, living on site downstairs in our office.
I was going to ask if there's ever is there always a staff member or a volunteer or a graduate, somebody there to...
Yes. Yeah. We either we're there, but we also have a sweet woman that lives on site overnight, who lives there, who's always there pretty much 24/7 also. So we have staff on site all the time.
What are some of the things, community-wise, if somebody's watching this, what are some of the things that you guys feel that you're always kind of needing? Is it you're like, funding? Good answer.
Money. No.
If there's a capacity for people to watch this and rally around collecting X, Y, and Z items, what are some of those items?
Some of the biggest things are toiletry items and things to run a household.
Sure.
We have on our website...
Feminine hygiene products, so on and so forth. Yeah.
On our website, we have an Amazon list that just kind of runs, that we continue to update, that people can go on, order, and it ships directly to the house. But also, if somebody's out shopping and they're like, oh, I'm going to grab an extra thing of toilet paper, they can drop it off at the Bride Church and just say, hey, this is for Lydia's house.
Awesome.
Things like that help tremendously.
Absolutely.
And so normally in the beginning of the year, we launch our Amazon list, and then also we do a circle of care partnership to where if somebody says, hey, I want to donate every month to Lydia's house,
absolutely,
then we have that built in also. And then they can receive a newsletter and get information about, what we have going on.
So people can partner with you guys monthly from a fiscal standpoint.
Sure.
They can anytime, if they're out and about and they want to shop for additional items, grab something for you guys, drop it off at the Bride. Or C, we can effectively, and let's actually have this conversation after we end the podcast. Let's see what we can't do to set up a date, maybe in January, to do like a donation drive.
That would be great.
And we'll make it all for Lydia's house, just to help you guys start the year with a surplus of those kind of items.
That would be amazing.
Let's absolutely make that happen.
Okay.
I'm thinking of Lydia's house as a whole. What an incredible just beacon. What is the, and I don't want to ask such a negative question, but if there's a time when somebody interviewed with you guys and you prayed about it and it didn't seem like a good fit, what is that?
Sure.
What does that look like? Are they just so actively caught an addiction, or what is that? I mean, that's a yucky conversation to have, but it's
an important
real life conversation to have. What does that look like?
Most of the time, and that doesn't actually happen very often.
Sure. Praise God. That's awesome.
Absolutely. Most of the time when that happens, it's usually more that we're just not able to support them, maybe physically or medically.
Got it.
If somebody has big medical issues going on, that's been probably one of the only times that we've really had to say, hey, I'm really sorry we're not able to do that, because we just don't have medical people on staff that can,
Sure.
help with that.
Sure.
But a lot of the times what happens is women want it and they come and they start the process, but they're just not able to get clean.
Yeah.
Sure. Got it. And go ahead.
I was going to say, the relapsing, when people relapse, because I mean, that's a difficult thing. Like, not to compare it to bad eating habits, but there are times like, I'm going to eat clean. I'm going to do good. I'm going to do good.
Yeah.
This is going to be the best. And all of a sudden,
I'm
you're like,
spiraling.
and then you're like, is that a Twinkie? And then you eat it and you're like, oh, that's some ice cream. And they're like, I've already eaten Twinkie and ice cream. What else can I have?
Sure.
Right. And I myself have been lucky in my life to never have that type of an addiction, or at least of the, fentanyl and all those things. But I can only imagine it being extremely difficult.
Yeah.
So in situations like that, what is, you guys are like, hey, you need to figure out, is this what you want?
There's that, but also, so one of the things that we do, because relapse is such a huge thing.
Absolutely, yeah.
I think we have now had 5 women that previously had graduated that were like, hey, I'm struggling, I need help, that have come back in and done program a second time, which has been beautiful.
Yeah.
But we also offer once you complete program, so if you're at Lydia's House for 10 to 12 months, after that, we offer a minimum of 6 months of aftercare, which means you still can come to the house. You come check in with me. If we don't see you for a week, we're knocking on your door, those kind of things, because that support is so important.
That's amazing.
But even outside of that, we have a graduate community that still just stays connected, so that when they need something or when they're struggling in anything,
Sure.
they can reach out and say, oh man, I got really angry today, But we just keep that door open, because one of the things that's so important, at least for me, and I think for our staff, is that we're not just a home for 10 to 12 months. Like,
Exactly.
we're doing life with you. We're helping you. Like, we're literally holding your hand while you do the things you have to do to walk with the Lord and to be clean and sober and different. And so in that, on the other side of it, it's like, we're not just done and wave you off.
Yeah,
like,
bye.
Right. No, like, we're still going to be here for you.
Yeah. That's incredible.
No, it's super important. Well, community changes everything. What do you and the staff do to decompress from or to keep? Because I know when I was at the hospital, there's a weight being around broken all the time.
Yeah.
And even when you're home, you're just like, you're trying to get that heaviness off of you. What's something that you guys do, or how do you operate in that type of environment?
That's a great question.
Sometimes.
Once in a while. No. I think one of the biggest things is we just work really hard to communicate with one another and support one another. And when we see that in somebody, to honor them in it, to say, hey, looks like you're having a hard time. What do you need? Probably could do it a lot better. Who couldn't,
Yes.
But I think some of the other things that we really try to do too is we try to keep it balanced. I learned the hard way of what that looks like when I stepped into the position of director at Lydia's House. Is it was like, okay, well, that means I got to do everything, and balancing that out, learning how to hand some things over to other people.
Yeah.
And then also just really honoring time away from there, because a ministry like this, you don't go home at the end of the day and put your keys down and think, I'll pick that up tomorrow. It doesn't work that way.
It doesn't end at the 5 o'clock bell. It's 24 hours.
Yeah.
Well, it's 24 hours because it's eternal. What you're doing
Absolutely.
is literally the program begins, but the program never ends. Right. What do you guys I'm thinking about when you said the like the graduating classes and the additional support, or the support beyond the actual 10 to 12 month program, and some of the boomerang children, if you would, those that have graduated and come back. Do you guys have like a set and established like meeting for those individuals, or is it more like a call if you need us? Because I'm just thinking of addiction is not necessarily call us if you need us, because if they're in addiction, then they're not going to be calling you, right? Is there like a set, either monthly or quarterly, something like that, so they can stay with you guys and stay in front of you?
Yeah,
because so many programs come and go, and like, you graduate, here's your certificate. But if they go back to the same family, or let alone the same home that they were in 10 or 12 months prior, their odds of future success probably 25%, because they're going back to the environment that
in.
created them in the first place.
Right.
Unless they have a complete clean slate. And, oh, yeah, believe it or not, all my friends that are in addiction, they moved away to Kansas, right? Like, they're going to come out and then all of their same friends and environment is going to right back in, right? So I'm thinking, I mean, God, it's going to be that much harder for many of those individuals that are now out of the program. They're going to have family members that scoffed at the program. They're going to have friends that may have scoffed at the program that are in addiction themselves. So that additional support beyond Lydia's house after that 10, 12 months, crucial, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we have we've kind of started these like monthly graduate gatherings where we all just get together and just, how's life? What's going on?
Yeah.
What do you need?
Good.
And then individually, we just really like try to establish, what do you need? Because that's the other thing. One of the really interesting things about running a program, they're not all the same.
No.
Well, addiction may be addiction.
Sure.
Everybody's struggle is different.
Absolutely.
And so we really look at the individual needs for each person, and who needs help with parenting, who needs help with health stuff, like whatever it is. We really try to look at it individually. And so we carry that over into our graduate program.
That's awesome.
Of, what do you need? When do you need it? And keeping an open door at the house that when they are struggling with something emotionally, before it becomes, I'm going back out there, that they can come and say, hey, I'm having a really hard time.
Yeah.
And then we can just sit and process with them.
And then as it sits right now, do you guys have any other affiliations with any other local, either nonprofits or like, if you guys partnered up with like either AMPLA or Adventist or REST or any other, like even on the nonprofit side that you guys kind of rub shoulders with to assist with you guys getting any of your like the toiletry needs or blankets or stuff like that? Have you guys?
Not really.
No.
Not really. We do some things like we go in and help support REST when they're like at the Bride Church.
Yeah.
We'll go
REST
in and
is
serve and do those kind of things. Absolutely. But no, one of the things we do have that's like kind of hopefully coming.
Sure.
There's some things to do beforehand, but one of the things that the Lord really laid on my heart was one of the other reasons that sometimes women don't come into program is because they cannot leave their kids for 10 months or they cannot leave their job for 10 months.
Yeah.
Like most of the time when women are in that situation, it's pretty desperate. Like it's not like somebody goes, hey, I'll just let my house go and I'll come in, But when women are in that position, they're not able to do program, right? Because they have to go home. They've got to take their kids to school. They've got to do all that.
Yeah. Their life can't just pause.
No. No. However, they may be pulling themselves up out of addiction. They just haven't gotten to that place of desperation yet.
Yeah.
Physically, but maybe they have emotionally. And so with that, our hope and prayer right now is to be able to start, we're kind of calling it an outreach program, but where we could offer almost like an outpatient element. However, we're not a medical facility.
Sure.
But an outpatient element where we could offer those some of the same classes we do, some of that same support, some of that same structure.
Without having to live in the actual brick and mortar.
Absolutely. Yeah. Because then that would
allow
help
their life to continue.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that would allow us to be able to help so many more women start on that, to be in that place of healing and just really getting to know that this is not the life the Lord created for them.
And then you can expand your reach that much more because your footprint is not bound by 6 to 8 or 10 beds. Right.
Absolutely.
That's awesome. That's something that you guys are actively working
it
towards.
Is. Yes.
Oh yeah, that'll completely just take the cap off of impact. That's awesome. That's awesome to hear. Hey Joe,
I'm enjoying the conversation, man.
Sorry.
Don't mind me.
Yeah, I was just going to change the name from the Cam and Joe show to just the Cam show.
That makes sense.
Maybe it's our show now.
Maybe it's Cam.
Maybe it's our show now, and maybe we're interviewing you.
The Cam and Sarah show.
Yeah.
So I've never struggled with addiction. I'm not a woman, so I can't be into Lydia's house.
Sorry, we would have to refuse.
You know what, man? That makes sense.
I wanted an active live look at a refusal, and I just got one. There you go.
We will.
Thank you,
continue
Josephine.
To pray for you.
Thank you, Josephine. What an incredible program, though. That's awesome.
Thank you.
Are there? I think it's absolutely amazing, especially when you're getting into the addiction and the relapsing and what we have. I mean, you're dealing with broken hearts. Broken hearts don't mend overnight.
No.
Right. And it's not like all of a sudden somebody's heart becomes. The broken heart can't be broken again. It can't relapse. It can't go back. And that familiar smell, sense, community. Like Cameron was saying, it's not like their homes just changed all of a sudden.
Yeah.
So are there, what is it, let's say I'm week 1, I'm in the program, we're starting classes. What is week 1? I'm broken.
Yeah.
I'm now, man, I'm lapsed. You've seen all my dirty laundry list. I'm approved. I'm in the thing. We're starting classes. What would that first week look like?
Well, we start out kind of soft, right? Because a lot of the time when women come in, like you're moving into a home with a whole bunch of other women who you probably don't know.
Sure.
And even though in the beginning, everybody would be like, yeah, I know the Lord. Yeah, I know this is what I want. They walk in, they're like, man, we're really going to read the Bible all the time, every day. I'm like, within reason. Yes, we
absolutely.
are. So a typical day looks like some mornings the women get up and go for a walk. We have a volunteer that comes and walks with them. And then right now we've been doing the Bible recap. So we dig into that. We do daily Bible reading. And then we have different classes pretty much every day. But in week 1, the first thing is just come in, get comfortable, get to know everybody. I don't throw a stack of books at you day 1 unless you come in and you're like, all right, Sarah, I'm ready. Then I'm like, oh, let's go.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like, oh my God.
But the first week, we just kind of let you settle in, let you get to know the house, let you get to know the women, just kind of let you feel it out for the first few days.
Yeah.
And then the next week, but
then we drop the hammer.
We drop it. But then we just start adding things little by little. One of the things that is hard is because women don't all start together. So sometimes people come in and we're in the middle of a book or we're in the middle of a Bible study.
Sure.
And so with that, we just kind of evaluate where are they, what can they pick up and do.
Sure.
And sometimes it's like, just sit in the discussion. You're fine. Guess what? You'll get to do this book in a few months anyway. Because a lot of the stuff that we do, I'm really, really intentional about reading the room of the house and what they need, right? Like, I don't want to just come in and be like, okay, we're going to do...
Flip to Ephesians. And you're like, what is an Ephesians? What's an Ephesians?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, that's a book? Yeah.
And one of the things that's so beautiful, though, is that the women in the home come alongside each other in that beautifully. Like we kind of have this idea of a big sister. We don't really we're not like you're her big sister, but this idea
Look what your little sister's doing.
Right. But just this idea of coming alongside each other. And so when they see that, they'll be like, we all use the same Bible for all of our classes. So we all have the ESV Student Study Bible.
Love
so you
it.
can easily be like,
1129
at a time. I'm going to give you one page number over, right? And then we'll to help that. But it's just this, but we do a beautiful thing by the end of it. It's so fun to watch somebody come each other.
I'm not going to be able to do all
this. And then when women, and then a couple months later, the next
person
person comes in and they're like, nah, girl, you got this. We, because they have adjusted to it too. And so we really just try to love them through the first few days, because that is probably one of the hardest. Is they're coming in, they're like, who are all these women? They're coming in with a different mentality most of the time. Wherever they've come from, they've had their guards up, they've had to, be defensive or whatever, and just letting that soften to where they stop and go, actually, I'm home.
Yeah.
This is home. This isn't, I'm not just in a program, with somebody banging on the door to wake me up. It's, hey, let's get up. Let's start our day.
Yeah.
We have structure, but we also treat them like the grown women they are.
It's more motherly than militant. You guys aren't, you're not doing,
Yeah.
running drill lines while they're out jogging or walking in the morning.
No, which really, that's my background. I was in the Navy for 10 years.
Thank you for your service.
Thank you. I was a drug and alcohol counselor for several years.
Wow,
so
awesome.
For me, I was like, yes, we're going to have structure. And the Lord was just like, girl,
Hey.
what'd that do for you? Like, oh, yeah.
Yeah. Oops.
Yeah. So we have structure, but
That's
one of the things we talk about a lot, and this is awful for women, I know, but we talk about being fat, flexible, adaptable, and teachable. And sometimes we add extra T's depending on what mood we're in, but because that's what it really takes.
Sure.
That's awesome. I love it.
Yeah,
That's incredible.
Adapting to your environment, and just teaching somebody how to adapt to what's happening around them. Adaptability is huge. Even, from my understandings of seeing how people work around each other, I feel like as a society, especially when you're in a broken state, we undersell ourselves, and then we get into the spiral of despair to where we don't feel like we can we can pull ourselves out. You know, one of my favorite books, Pilgrim's Progress. I mean, the pilgrim's literally in the dungeon of despair, getting beaten by the giant of despair daily. So much so that his friend Faith dies in front of him, and he's in a total place of hopelessness. That allegorical story, that concept to me is something that is a daily for a lot of people we don't realize.
Right.
And so when I see like, hey, wow, I can simply get up today and I can go and work that job.
Right.
Oh, and I can do what this other person's doing. And I think it's wonderful to see adding those little steps and giving them the confidence. And I honestly, the impact you're having on them isn't just oh, this is great. This is something that changes their whole mindset and outlook. So that way they're not just becoming back into society. They're becoming great people into society.
Right.
And they're able to push forward what they've got and bring other people around them. So, I mean, kudos to you. I just hearing you talk and the structure and all that just makes my heart happy, because so often we have programs that just puts a Band-Aid on a broken chest, and you're like, that their ribs are showing, man, that ain't gonna fix it. Like, Band-Aid will be fine. And we have so many Band-Aids that it's like, no, we're gonna sit with them. We're gonna wait for it to heal. We're gonna wait for them to settle back in.
Right.
But put them in a place to where they're not going to relapse. And if they do, we have a safe place, but that they become competent people in society who can actually create change.
Right.
Yeah.
And so to me,
Building
that's
them up.
huge, because I see lots and lots of programs that go, all right, here you go. Here's Band-Aid. Have fun. They're like, yeah, but I'm in grief. I'm in trauma. I'm in survival mode. I feel like I'm underwater. I've got X kids. I've got these debts. I've got these things. I don't know what to do.
Right.
You'll be fine. Here's some food.
Right.
Yeah.
I feel like this approach of teaching people, using the Bible to teach people the structure of reassessing their life and reevaluating and how can I have faith
Foundationally. Yeah.
is huge. So, you know, don't let anybody undersell what you're doing, because it is very important. And I can even just see it through the love that you have on people. It's incredible. So I'm proud of yourself. It's really good.
AKA kudos. Keep doing what you're doing. How do people reach out from a like a community standpoint? Somebody watches this. This will probably air next.
Air in about a
next
week. Yeah.
If somebody watches this and they're inspired to assist at any one capacity or another, whether it's fiscally or, again, they're at the grocery store and they grab some items.
Sure.
The items they would bring to Bride Church and just say, hey, please hold this for earmark it for Lydia's house. How does somebody, if they're inspired to become a monthly sponsor with you guys, where do they go? Is there a phone number or website? What is that? What is that?
Yes, they can call the house. We are often not in the office, but they can call the house and leave a message, or they can visit our website. Okay. And the website is all lowercase, www.lydiashouseministries.org.
Okay.
We have a Facebook page, so that's a lot easier place to find that information. But if you look up Lydia's House Ministries, our page will come up. And then that information is all there also.
Awesome.
Or they can just call the Bride Church. If they call the Bride Church, they will definitely call me, send me a message, and let me know.
So women exclusively, and I love that, because that just makes it that much more, in my opinion, of a safe space. So women 18 years and over, at any capacity, whether it's, but mostly we'll call it drug related or some kind of history in drugs or addiction in general, that are looking for just a fresh start and somebody to rally around them and allow them to experience hope and connectivity and friendship. You guys do incredible work. I'm so glad that you came on today, because I've only ever known so much about what Lydia's house was all about, and now doing the deep dive in today has been super inspiring. So like Joe said, thank you for everything that you do in the community. It is such a need. Unfortunately, I'll say that. Unfortunately, it is such a need here locally, but it's incredible that you have just taken this on and you're just completely running with it. Like like I said, like this is forever stuff. This isn't 10 to 12 month stuff. You're literally impacting souls, which is literally impacting generations. So kudos to you, Sarah. It's incredible.
Thank you.
I got nothing else to say. I said it.
That was the best deep dive. That was a really, really great deep dive into everything that Lydia's House is all about.
Yep.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you. I
this
appreciate
morning.
it. Appreciate
I
it.
really
It's been
appreciate you. Thank you.
Like, subscribe, follow, do all the good stuff. If you want to hear more content about this, you've got an organization you want to be a part of, come comment, let us know. We want to have you on here. We want to talk to you. We want to hear your story. The more we can create community, the more we can grow together, the more everybody wins.
You got it.
Thanks for watching, guys.
Later.
Thank you for checking out the Cam and Joe Show.
If you guys are liking our content so far, you can follow us on Facebook and Instagram. You can also listen to us on Spotify.